loves, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine. Today we're going to be doing a makeup look for a night out, for a date night. I would say mostly for a night out, so that you look beautiful, you look sexy, so that your makeup lasts all night. I love how this look came out. You can definitely swap any of the colors for any type of color you want. I think the focus is really in the eyes for this look. So if you want to see how I achieved this night out makeup look, keep on watching. Okay, so I usually don't show my skin prep in my videos, but today we're gonna start all the way from skin prep. I'm using the ILIA, the base face milk today. This is a milky toner. Y'all know I always preach about using a milky toner when doing your makeup and just in general. These are so hydrating. All my dry skin girlies, you will love this. Even if you have oily skin like I do, this will make your skin feel so hydrated, which is so important before makeup. This is not necessary, but I'm also gonna do a little mist of my CAUDALIE beauty elixir. Again, this is going to add some hydration to the skin. I also just got this new Glow Recipe mist. This is the Watermelon Glow Ultra Fine Mist. I really like this one as well. The only other serum I'm going to use is the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewdrops. So again, these are going to add hydration to the skin, but it has niacinamide in it, which is good for oil control. For my moisturizer today, I'm going to be using the BOBBI Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base. This is a really nice moisturizer that is going to hydrate the skin, again, because we want all the hydration that we can get before applying any makeup. And this particular moisturizer is made to be worn under makeup as well. I think it is really nice for normal to oily skin as well. I think I remember seeing that on the product claims. Last but not least, we're going to use an eye cream. This is the Fenty Skin Thick and Smooth Eye Cream. This is so nice and hydrating under the eye, but it's also pretty lightweight. I really like it for underneath makeup. It's good for the nighttime as well, but for me, I like an even thicker eye cream, which is the Kiehl's avocado one. I think if you watched my nighttime skincare routine, you would have seen me use that eye cream, but I really like this one for under makeup. It really helps my under eyes to not crease and stay hydrated so that it doesn't look dry and crepey under my eyes either. Last but not least, we're going to hydrate the lips. This is the LANEIGE Glaze Tinted Lip Serum. This does have a tint, but it's nothing crazy on its own where you would look insane. You know what I mean? This also smells divine, I believe. What scent is this? This is the Sugar Glaze one. It smells so good. Okay, so I just did my eyebrows and primed my skin. I used the One Size Oil Sucker Primer because for a night out, you do not want to be looking greasy, looking shiny. We want to look skin-like and beautiful, but not like a grease ball. The reason I applied this before is so that it could dry down and we could get straight into our base application. For my color corrector, I'm using my MORPHE color corrector in the shade Cinnamon. Y'all know that I love this one. Color corrector is everything. I don't do my makeup without it now. I think I applied slightly too much under my eyes. Oopsie daisy, but it's okay. You can just spread it out. Something I've been seeing a lot of the girls doing is setting their color corrector, so we're gonna do that today. I'm just gonna use any translucent powder. This is the One Size powder in Sweet Honey, and I'm just gonna take it on a powder brush. Something small and precise but still fluffy, and I'm just going to set the color corrector into place. This is to ensure that the color corrector does not mix with the foundation shade and turn it orangey. And when I saw someone say that, I was like, you're a genius. You're a genius. And then I still kind of act like the color corrector under my eyes is like concealer. I'm going to blend out the creases under my eyes before I go in with a light layer of translucent powder. It's okay if there's a little bit of creases, but you don't want it to look like a mess. And I think it neutralizes the orange a little bit as well, especially if you add too much like I did today. For my foundation today, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Lumi-Matte foundation. This one really reminds me of my Armani Voluminous Silk. It really reminds me of that one. It has this beautiful skin-like finish that is not too dewy, but is also not too matte. And also something I've been liking doing is to kind of apply my foundation in with my fingers first. I always apply with my fingers for real, but just going in and spreading the product out with my fingers first before I go in with a brush and blend. I feel like this creates like a really nice thin layer of foundation so that it's not caking up on the skin, and it also allows it to blend better, I feel. And I'm not like spending as much time blending it into the skin because I already did like half the work with my finger. And you see how beautiful that match is? Maybelline snapped with this foundation. I think it was released in the UK or somewhere in Europe first, before they released it in the US. Thank you for releasing it in the US because I love this foundation. I was going to wear my Lawless today, but I was like, let me show them something different. Y'all know that I love the Lawless and I wear that one all the time. I don't know if you guys mind when I use the same product. I've seen people say they like when creators do that because it shows them that they really like the products that they use. But in my head, I'm like, I want to give them variety. I want to show them different things. I don't want anyone to get bored of me using the same products all the time. So let me know what you prefer. Do you prefer to hear about the same products? Do you prefer me to switch it up? Of course, never forget to blend down your neck. So important, especially for photos. For my cream bronzer today, I'm using my LYS Beauty cream bronzer in the shade Worthy. She's toe up. Like, I love this cream bronzer so much. I barely even have to use any of it. I feel like I say this every time I use it, but it's really true. Like, all you need are a couple dots all over the face and you're good, because this is really going to sculpt and snatch the face so nicely. It's so buttery, so it's going to blend in easily. But you see how a little went such a long way? I really like doing the bronzer on the jawline to just give a little snatch there. I'm gonna blend out the rest of this and then we'll come back and do cream blush. For my liquid blush, I'm gonna be using the Armani Beauty Luminous Silk Cheek Tint. This one is in the shade 65. This is a really beautiful mauve-y pink shade. It's like a very deep mauve berry shade. I really like this and it's gonna go with my outfit today. Again, I was mentioning how I wanted to start bringing out some products that I don't always feature. This is a really nice blush. It's not super pigmented, which is why you saw me apply like a little bit more than usual. They have some shades that are more pigmented than others. Like the red shade is pretty pigmented. I don't have to apply as much of that one, but it is like a cheek tint. It's not like, you know, a full-on liquid blush, but you can build it up, as you can see, to have some more pigment. I also really like that this shade is more of a mauve shade rather than like, you know, a deep purple, because sometimes that's not always what I'm going for. I really want more blush shades like this, so if you guys have any recommendations, especially for like a powder as well, please let me know because I'm looking for it. I don't always want like a plum deep purple shade. For concealer, I'm gonna use my Huda Beauty. I'm sorry, I know I always do, but it's just what I know and what I love. And I feel like it's the perfect concealer for a night out because it's so full glam and stunning. It photographs so well. It just highlights the skin so nicely. By the way, this shade that I'm using is the shade Salted Caramel. I'm going for a brighter under eye today, so even my first shade is going to be a little bit bright. And then for the innermost corners of my under eye, I'm using the shade Caramel Corn. I'm going in with a tiny bit more of this shade than usual as well because, again, I want a nice bright under eye. To melt that all into the skin, I'm using my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. I am starting to run out of this. I need to get a new one. I really like to drench the skin, and then once it is like 95% dry, then we will blend in our concealer. Okay, now we are going to blend in the concealer. I said 95% dry for the setting spray, but it's more like 99, 100. It's pretty dry now. But as soon as I feel that it's dry, that's when I blend in the concealer, because obviously we don't want the concealer to set into place like this. But I think applying a setting spray is going to help it dry down a little bit faster so that it has the most pigment possible. I always like to keep my other brushes handy so I can blend in any harsh lines that form. And then I'll do my nose before I do the rest of my face. The way I blend in my nose highlight, I kind of swipe, which is like a rule that everyone says don't swipe, but I kind of swipe on my nose because I don't want this to go too out of place. And then on the side, sometimes I'll use my foundation brush, but I don't want the sides to be too harsh as well. Before I start blending out my under eye, I'm gonna get my Maybelline powder ready. This is the Maybelline Fit Me powder in the shade 310. Y'all know how much I love and adore this powder so much. Like, you know by now. I'm gonna gather a decent amount of this onto a powder puff. I'm gonna have it at the ready for after blending out the concealer. So I'm gonna start with the darker shade, and I start along the edges of the concealer and then I gradually move in. So blending out the edges is going to make sure it stays mostly in the same place that we applied it. I don't want it to go too far outside of this placement, and then we can move further in. I have like little crevices by my nose, so sometimes I literally have to like pull my nose like this to make sure I get in there and there's no strange lines. And then I'm going to grab my second concealer brush to blend out the brighter shade. Again, going back and forth between brushes to make sure everything is blended out nicely. And now I have taken my powder puff and I'm just applying the powder to my under eye. That is done. I like to set that right away so that it doesn't even have the chance, the opportunity to crease. This side has dried down quite a bit, so I'm going to try to work a little bit faster with blending this concealer out. We might have to apply a little bit more. Oop, I got a little bit into the lighter shade. That's fine. Just blend it out. I'm going to go into the lighter shade now. Blend that out. That looks pretty nice. I am still going to add one more little dot. And then, since I forgot, I'm going to load up my powder puff again. Same thing we did on the other side. Have that on guard. And then we're going to blend this shade out right away. We don't want it to sit for too long. And I'm doing more of a tapping motion. I don't want to swipe it too much with this because we don't want to mess with any concealer that is underneath. Just tap away any creases, blend away any harsh lines along the nose as well. And then we'll go in with our powder puff. I'll set that into place. Applying the powder is so satisfying because it's just so smooth and bright and it just brings everything together. I'm also going to use this on my upper lip and then in the center of my forehead. I already went across my nose and then on the chin. For my powder for the rest of my face, I'm using my One Size Turn Up the Base powder in the shade Deep 2G. I really like this powder. It is very mattifying and will keep your makeup in place all day. I just started hitting pan. You see that little speck of pan? I just hit that as we speak. Y'all, I love this powder. I'm glad I just bought a new one because I heard that they're discontinuing this. I really hope and pray that it's not true. This is actually my second time hitting pan on this product. This is an oily girl's best friend. I feel like nobody talks about this powder foundation, but it's literally comparable to like a MAC Studio Fix in my opinion because the way my makeup does not move when I use this, wow. Like you see how it just for me this area gets very shiny for some reason, and my brow, like you see how it just mattified that compared to the side, like yeah, but it still looks skin-like. It still looks skin-like. It's not like dry looking. Just trying to cover my edges so I don't get too much makeup in them. For my loose powder today, I'm actually using Huda Beauty's Cherry Blossom. I know I'm gonna be wearing more of a berry mauve toned blush, and I just love how pink powder looks with that. I haven't used my Cherry Blossom powder in a long time, but I really like this one. In one of my other videos, I think you guys saw me use the Ube birthday cake powder. That one is also so beautiful and I would have used it, but I found the Cherry Blossom one first and was like, actually we can use this. As you can see, it's not like a bright pink powder. It just has like a pink tint that is meant to be brightening, and it certainly is. I'm only going to use this under my eyes because this is meant to blend into our blush shade. I'll also use it on the bridge of the nose since that's kind of the center of the face. For the rest of my face, I am going to use Huda Beauty powder still, but in the shade Peach Pie, just to neutralize the rest of the face. I don't want my whole face to have a pink tint to it. I don't know if you guys can see the difference in shade between Peach Pie and Cherry Blossom on my skin. I'm also going to bake my smile lines because I'm a smiley girl. I like to laugh and smile and I don't want my makeup to crease because of that. And then we'll do the center of the forehead as well because that can get very shiny for me. For my bronzer today, I'm using the One Size Made for Shade Bronze and Sculpt Trio in the deepest shade. I'm going to start with mixing the lightest and darkest shade together for my cheek, just to give me a little bronze. I don't want anything too sculpted. I just want to add some color back to the face. And then for my forehead, I'll just use more of just the middle shade so that I can be a little deeper. I love a really bronzed forehead, as you guys know. I even dipped into the darker contour shade. And then for my jawline, I'm going to use the middle and bottom shade so that we have more of a snatch and sculpt there. And now we are going to press the powder in that we were baking with, and then using a powder brush, I'm just going to wipe the excess powder away. As you can see, our under eye is very bright today, but honestly that's what I was going for. The Huda Beauty powder does not give me any flashback, and I feel like even this bright of a shade is still melting into my skin so nicely and giving me exactly the look that I'm going for. For my powder blush, I'm going to be starting with the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Truth. This is the Soft Pinch Matte Bouncy Blush. I'm going to start with the shade Truth. I've never used this shade before, but it looked like it was going to be a beautiful berry shade. Yeah, that is not too deep of a purple because that's not what I'm going for today. It's definitely a purple blush, but it's still like a really pretty berry shade. I'm not going to apply too much of that because I am going to go in with a second blush shade. This is the Juvia's Place blush palette. This is volume 1. I have not touched this in a minute, but I really wanted to go for that mauve-y purplish berry shade at the top. I'm gonna apply that to the cheek. Yeah, that is super pretty. And I'm gonna blend that into my under eye. I'm using a pretty fluffy brush to just buff that into the skin and give me a really airbrushed finish. I'm also going to be contouring with my nose with the lightest shade in the One Size palette. I think that is the perfect nose contouring shade for me because it's not too deep to where it's going to make my nose look muddy, but it's just deep enough to give my nose some definition. And I love using powder because it's so quick and easy to apply. I feel like you have more control than with a cream as well. I'm going to go in with my Morphe Continuous Setting Mist yet again. This is going to help to melt all of my powders into place. And then I'm also going to go in with my Charlotte Tilbury. I'm going to let this dry down a bit first. I'd say this is about halfway dry now. I'm going to go in with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Setting Spray next. Okay, for eyes today, we're going to do something pretty simple yet effective. I'm going into my ColourPop Gone Matte palette. This is a beautiful, affordable, neutral eyeshadow palette that I just love. It has cool tones and warm tones, literally every neutral shade you could need. The first shade that I'm going to go into is the shade, let's go into shade Powder Puff here at the bottom, this deep neutral brown shade. And I'm going to start by applying this to my lid. And I'm going to take the shade right above it called Fleecy on a fluffy brush. And I'm just going to use that to blend the edges out so that there's a nice ombre there. There's no harsh lines, nothing like that. Very simple, but just wait. Okay, now we're going to get into some fun liner. I'm going to take my Morphe Byliner. This is the shade Truth and Dare, which is the black shade. And I'm going to do the matte one, which is the shade Truth. And I'm going to start by just lining my lash line. Looking down into your mirror really helps with this. And then I'm gonna do like kind of like a little flick at the end. It's not really a wing because it's still messy. And then I'm gonna take an angled brush. Let's see if I can find one. An angled eyeshadow brush, and I'm just gonna pull the end of it out to try and create like a little wing. And we're also going to use this angled brush to just smudge this eyeliner the whole way through. I'm going to go back into the Gone Matte palette, and I'm going to take the shade Powder Puff again on a fluffy but angled eyeshadow brush. And I'm just going to use that to blend this shade into the rest of the eyeshadow. Okay, I also use the same Morphe eyeliner on my lower lash line. Right now I am drying my false eyelashes. I'm doing the Lily lashes in the style Miami. And now I'm just going to add some lower lash mascara because I feel like it's so necessary. This is the Makeup by Mario Master Mascara. Okay, now I'm going to apply my lip liner, and the reason I'm doing this before finishing the rest of my face is because this lip liner is meant to be sitting on your lips for about 5 minutes before you apply your other lip products. This is the Marviano Cosmetics Smudge Proof Long Wear Lip Liner. I'm going to be using the shade Brick Mocha today. It is stunning. I'm going to apply some highlighter now. This is the Fenty Beauty Kilowatt Foil Highlighter in Ruby Riches. This is kind of like a glowy blush that I love on the cheek. It's so beautiful and it gives you this glow from within kind of look. I'm sure y'all have seen me use this several times because I use it all the time and I love it. It is so beautiful. And I feel like it's not bringing out the texture and the pimples that I have on my face. These are not active pimples, they're starting to go down, but I still feel like it's not bringing them to the forefront. Whereas I feel like if I use like a gold highlighter, it would do that. That being said, I am going to use my Anastasia Glow Seeker highlighter in the shade Sun Idol just on the tip of my nose, or just on the tip and bridge of my nose. I love nose highlight, it's so cute. It just brings the nose out, especially as somebody that doesn't have a very defined nose bridge. I feel like it really emphasizes my nose bridge. Okay, now we're gonna complete the lip combo. I'm gonna use my Clarins Water Lip Stain in the shade of Violet Water. This is one that just kind of dries immediately on the lip. It gives the lip this beautiful berry tint. And then I'm gonna use this new Fenty Beauty lip gloss shade. This is the shade Cherry Amour. It came in their new like lip combo sets. I don't know if y'all saw those. This is such a beautiful like deep berry shade, kind of like that cherry cola shade. This is so pretty. I knew the lip liner and the lip stain would look so beautiful with this. Like, I'm not even wearing any lipstick, which is so unlike me, but yes, this is so pretty. I'm gonna set my face with my One Size On Till Dawn setting spray. And then if you want to bring some life back into your skin and still look a little bit glowy, you can go back over with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish setting spray. But personally, I want to stay as matte as possible because no matter what, my skin is going to get dewy on its own. That's just being an oily skin girl. That's what happens. But here is my final look, y'all. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you like the look. I love a good smoky liner. It is so sultry and just perfect for a night out. And I hope the tips that I told you throughout this video will help you to have your makeup lasting all night. Please make sure to give this video a like and leave a comment down below of all your thoughts. Any product recommendations, I'm always down to try something new. Please make sure to also subscribe to my channel and turn on the post notification bell so you don't miss another video from me. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!